Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking something that literally affects every single one of us planning for the future in India. We're looking at the macro to micro reality check of future-proofing your finances. Whether you're just starting your career, hitting your peak earning years, or eyeing your post-work life, the math of living in India is undergoing a massive, silent shift.
So let's just jump right into the big question off the bat. Is 1 crore rupees actually enough to retire comfortably? For a lot of us, a 1 crore corpus is like the holy grail. It's that magical finish line we plug into our spreadsheets, the target we chase that makes us feel secure. But is it really enough to protect your future? To answer that honestly, we have to look way beyond simple savings and understand the hidden economic forces at play.
We have a really fascinating roadmap today to connect the dots between your daily expenses, the value of our currency, and the future of your health. We'll be looking at the affordability illusion, the rupees 25-year slide, the silent wealth eaters, the retirement healthcare shock, and finally, future-proofing your finances.
All right, moving right into part 1, the affordability illusion and why India feels like a budget haven. Let's start with a snapshot of baseline living costs today. Data from Digit Insurance shows that even in our absolute top Tier 1 metropolises, everyday expenses actually appear quite manageable. For a single person or a small household, we're talking about average monthly costs of 20 to 50,000 in Bangalore, maybe 30 to 60,000 in Mumbai, and 22 to 50,000 in Delhi. Honestly, looking at this, it's pretty easy to think, hey, I can easily sustain this with a decent nest egg.
And this brilliantly illustrates why expats and NRIs view India as such an affordable destination. The contrast globally is just stark. The overall cost of living here is a staggering 313.8% lower than in the US, and almost 200% lower than in the UK. But here's the catch. This creates what I like to call the affordability illusion. Because things are comparatively cheap right now, we just naturally assume they're going to stay effortlessly affordable forever.
Which brings us to part 2, the rupees 25-year slide. We really need to understand the macro reality of currency depreciation. To truly grasp long-term affordability, you have to look at this number, -91%. That represents the rupee's nominal depreciation against the US dollar since the year 2000. It's a massive fundamental shift in the purchasing power of our currency on the global stage.
And it didn't happen overnight either. The exchange rates over time show a really steady multi-decade slide. We went from about 45 rupees to the dollar back in 2000 to over 53 in 2012, crossed 70 in 2019, and now we're sitting at roughly 85 or 86 rupees to the dollar today.
Now, impartially speaking, this trend is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it definitely hurts importers and makes things like foreign travel, electronics, and fuel much more expensive for you and me. But on the flip side, it actually helps India's exporters by making their goods more competitive, and it massively boosts the value of remittances for NRIs sending money back home. But look, for those of us earning, saving, and planning to retire locally in rupees, it just means our money is constantly fighting a pretty stiff headwind.
All right, let's zoom in a bit with part 3, the silent wealth eaters, how general inflation slowly erodes purchasing power.
SBI Securities absolutely hits the nail on the head when they define inflation as the thief of purchasing power. It's not some dramatic bank robbery, it's a slow, quiet leak. Historically in India, this general rate hovers right around 4 to 6%, meaning every single year your cash loses roughly 5% of its ability to actually buy you stuff.
Let's put that into perspective to see how this boiling frog effect compounds. Say your current lifestyle costs 75,000 rupees a month. If we just apply a standard 6% inflation rate, in 25 years you won't need 75,000. You are going to need over 3.22 lakh rupees every single month. And that's not to buy a bigger house or eat out more often. That 3.22 lakhs just buys you the exact same 75,000 rupee lifestyle you have right now. You literally have to run incredibly fast just to stay in the exact same place.
Okay, now for part 4, the retirement healthcare shock. This is the bombshell flaw in the 1 crore dream. 62%. According to deep data analysis from Value Research, this is the percentage of an average Indian retirement corpus that gets completely devoured by medical costs. Just let that sink in for a second. The vast majority of the money you spend decades saving, it's not going toward vacations, it's going straight into the healthcare system.
If you slice up a 1 crore nest egg, 62% goes to healthcare, which leaves you with just 38 lakh rupees for literally everything else. That 38 lakhs has to cover your housing, your food, family emergencies, and your daily life over a retirement that could easily last 20 or 30 years. When you look at it like that, suddenly, 1 crore doesn't look like much of a finish line at all.
The real villain behind this shocking reality is India's 14% medical inflation rate. This is the highest medical inflation rate in all of Asia. It is nearly 3 times the general inflation rate we talked about just a minute ago. At 14%, the cost of healthcare in India is literally doubling every 5 years.
To make this visceral, imagine a routine medical procedure that costs you 1 lakh rupees today. Because it scales at 14%. In just 5 years, it's going to cost nearly 1.9 lakhs. In 10 years, 3.7 lakhs. And fast forward 20 years, that exact same routine procedure will cost you a massive 13.74 lakh rupees. Across a full retirement, this is exactly how that 62% of your wealth just evaporates.
Finally, Part 5. Future-proofing your finances. How do we take all this terrifying math and turn it into actionable empowerment?
Well, the very first thing you need to know is that standard retirement calculators are structurally broken. Almost all of them apply a single, blended 6 or 7% inflation rate to all of your future expenses. By doing that, they completely miss the 14% medical inflation reality. They're projecting a future where your hospital bills grow at the same slow speed as your grocery bills, which, as we've seen, is just mathematically false.
You can fix this today by taking 3 specific steps. Number 1, recalculate your needs using a dual inflation model. Apply 7% to your general living costs, but model a chunk of your budget to grow at that aggressive 14% healthcare rate. Number 2, build a dedicated healthcare reserve separate from your main retirement fund. Aim for 3 to 5 times your current annual health spend and invest it to aggressively outpace that 14% barrier. And number 3, review your health insurance sum every single year. A 10 lakh cover you buy at age 50 is going to have a fraction of its purchasing power by the time you're 70.
I want to leave you with a deeply provocative thought from the sources we analyzed today. Planning for 1 crore is not planning for retirement. It is planning for healthcare. So, as you review your own spreadsheets, ask yourself, is your current financial target actually funding the retirement lifestyle you've always dreamed of? Or are you just pre-funding your future hospital bills? It's a heavy question for sure, but answering it today is the ultimate key to future-proofing your life. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and keep planning smart.